Hey guys,
Hey, how you guys doing? Hope you have a wonderful Sunday.
and by the way, this is another episode of Long Story Short. This is going to be our special Pioneer Day episode, a local state holiday in Utah that will be taking place tomorrow, July 24th.
Cool. We're Pioneer Day is a very special day for us, for the pioneers. We want to thank for the hard work and the blessing for a family to travel from Missouri or Nauvoo on the east coast to the west coast, and we're very blessed for the hard work and blessing they overcome, and the affliction, the hardship, and everything. We feel blessed they come to Utah. Uh, I was talking to my mom the other day, and simply Pioneer weekend. I was talking to her about if she remember any stories, and so the family member that they were able to meet. They were joined the church. They were able to meet Joseph Smith and Hiram Smith, and then during that time, during the travel to Nauvoo to Utah, one of the family members got really sick, and Joseph Smith was able to give him a blessing, and they were able to recover. But during that time, during the travel from Nauvoo to Utah, the U.S. government told one of my grandfathers and their nephew to go fight a war in Mexico. And along the way, also that nephew had to do a burial from a family member that was still traveling from Nauvoo to Utah. By the time they got that destination, the mother in that family, the mom and the dad passed away. And then since the burial was already there, they were able to bury them there. And I think that was kind of a wonderful blessing. And it was everything about it of our ancestors and how the hardship they went through for us, for our families, for the church, for the Church of Jesus Christ, the way it changed.
Mm-hmm. Very, very awesome story, Raj. Yeah, so, and then also, let's not forget, we also had pioneers that also traveled, not only from the East Coast, but we also had some long distant pioneers like that came all the way from England, Ireland, the other countries in Europe that traveled all the way, to America by then. And, just think about that. Like, imagine if we were living in a time period like that, how, there was no Ubers, there was no Airbnbs, there was, no fancy plane rides, everything had to be traveled by either foot or by hand cart for most of the time. But then even though they had the ships and like some other transportation, but it was still mostly either by foot or by hand cart. So for those out there who ever did Pioneer Trek, growing up, I unfortunately never got to experience it myself due to having to work during the time when my family ward did it. But I heard great things about it. It's still on my list to do it someday, which I believe home wards are still doing them today.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, people told me, like they basically said, Justin, if you ever get a chance, I would highly recommend you to do it. Like, you will seriously love it. You will really appreciate it a lot more, especially in the history of what people really sacrificed to come all the way out here, on July 24th, many of those years ago. And then speaking of family history, so with my stories, I was actually looking at my family chart the other day. So most of my family, at least on my mom's side, they all settled in northern Utah, or at least most of them in the Willard Perry area. And I was able to go visit their graves about a month ago on Memorial Day, which I thought it was very, very fun. And then, just getting to know them a little bit, what they sacrificed. And then at the end of my sophomore year in high school, I remember traveling up to Nauvoo. One of my great-great-great-great-grandfathers, I couldn't remember his name, but he owned a piece of property in Nauvoo before, the members of the church left, to settle in for Utah. So we got to go visit that property for a little bit, even though it's currently owned by someone else now. But it was still such a cool experience that how, part of my ancestors and my adoptive family side actually was a part of that, growing up, even though I'm sure it was very sad, very dreadful for them to give that all up. But the sacrifice that they all made to come out here to be inspired was, more than worth it in the long run. Because, I would imagine if they didn't have it, Utah wouldn't be the same.
Yeah. It just I just call it just a blessing right now. It's just a huge blessing. How with the hardship they went through, the sacrifice they sacrificed for us, and it's just amazing how you can read their journals and what they went through, and what a blessing it is to read their journals and their stories, and it's just incredible.
Mm-hmm. Now, for those of you who have not checked out your family history in a while, we would both encouragely, have you guys check it out whenever you get a moment, because all those stories there, all that information there, it's definitely limited information, and it's only going to go away if you make it go away. If you'd rather forget about it and move on with your life, or if you would rather remember what everyone has done, what everyone has sacrificed, everything for you, me, even Raj, to be here today. I guarantee you, if my ancestors didn't travel to Utah, I bet you there wouldn't have been an inspiration to have me adopted from Romania.
And also from India. I don't really know anything from my India and heritage. I only know of my adoption family. I tried with them. I tried to work, but I couldn't find any. So all I can do now is just one of my adopted family heritage. And it's been really blessing to get to know the journal, the stories, and then what the concur to travel to the plane to Utah. I read some of the journals. I'm just mind blowing of what they went through compared to today. I was just shocked, and it's still a blessing today also.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that, Raj. And also with my Romanian history, I was not able to find much information myself, but I did find out a little bit more history of the country's, history. With Romania, was also going through a lot by the time when I was adopted, and how, people sacrificed everything, they lost everything, especially going through a war. Before the Soviet Union fell, and that's where I was like, there's a little bit of similarities, but totally different stories. But just being so thankful on what our ancestors sacrificed for all of us to be here to this day.
And we appreciate for the podcast. We continue the podcast. We have a wonderful week, and hope to talk to you guys soon.
Awesome. And then before we wrap it up, we wanted to give a very special thank you to American Reckoning, who helped us made this actually happen. These are our official podcast shirts. And yeah.
We're excited. We're excited to move forward, and we're excited to continue our podcast. And if you have any thoughts you want to share on your ancestry of your family, you're welcome to put it in the comments at all. You can share, or you can leave a personal message on Facebook, or you can share it with me as well. Either way, I'm fine with it. And so, yeah. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week.
All right, guys. You have a happy Pioneer Day.
See ya.